never imagined a thin white envelope could weigh so much. It sat on the kitchen table between us, like a loaded gun waiting to go off. My hands hovered over it, trembling, while my wife, Sarah, folded her arms across her chest, her jaw tight, her eyes avoiding mine. "Are you really going to open it?" she asked, her voice sharp, defensive. I didn't answer. Couldn't. My heart pounded against my ribs as I tore the envelope open, pulling out the DNA test results that had arrived that morning. I had sent them off in secret weeks ago, after the gnawing suspicion became unbearable. It wasn't about me anymore. It was about Ethan, our 5-year-old son. Or at least, the boy I had thought was mine. My eyes scanned the paper. The words blurred at first, but then they became painfully clear. Probability of paternity, 0%. The room tilted. My breath hitched. For a moment, the world went completely silent, except for the rush of blood in my ears. Sarah shifted in her chair. "James, I can explain." "Explain." I looked up at her, and the face I had kissed 1,000 times now felt like a stranger's. My throat was dry, but the words clawed their way out anyway. "Who is he, Sarah?" She flinched. "It's not what you think. Not what I think." I slammed the paper down on the table. "It says he's not mine." "That's exactly what I thought." Ethan's laughter echoed faintly from the living room where cartoons played, oblivious to the storm brewing just a few feet away. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the tiles. "I need air. James, please don't do this now. We can talk, just." But I didn't let her finish. I grabbed my jacket and walked out, the door clicking shut behind me. The evening air bit at my skin as I stepped outside. I walked without purpose, just to keep my legs moving before the rage and heartbreak froze me in place. 5 years. 5 years of bedtime stories, scraped knees, birthday candles, all built on a lie. How long had she been lying to me? Was our marriage ever real? My phone buzzed in my pocket. Sarah again. I ignored it. I ended up in my car, parked 2 blocks away, staring blankly at the steering wheel. I couldn't bring myself to drive anywhere. My mind kept replaying every moment, every doubt I had brushed aside. The late nights at work, the sudden business trips. The way she flinched that one time I joked about Ethan having her ex's smile. I had trusted her. God, I had trusted her. When I finally returned home hours later, the house was quiet. Ethan was asleep. Sarah was sitting on the couch, her face pale, mascara smudged. "You didn't answer my calls," she whispered. "I didn't have anything to say," I replied coldly. She swallowed hard. It was a mistake. Happened once. Before we even got married." I stared at her. "Before we got married. Ethan was born a year after the wedding." She nodded, tears welling up. "I know. I didn't think. Thought he was yours. I swear I didn't know for sure until recently. That's why I didn't say anything. I was scared, James. Scared." I laughed bitterly. "You lied to me for 5 years. You let me love him, raise him, believe he was mine, and you were scared." "Please," she said, reaching for me, but I stepped back. "I can't even look at you right now." I went upstairs, packed a bag, and left. For the next week, I stayed at a cheap motel on the other side of town. Sarah sent texts, long paragraphs, apologies, pleas for me to come home, but I barely read them. My friends told me to get a lawyer. My brother told me to take a paternity leave, not from work, but from my entire marriage. But every night when I closed my eyes, I saw Ethan's face. His little hand clutching mine. The way he'd shout, "Daddy," when I came through the door. And that's what tore me apart the most. I wasn't angry at him. He was innocent. But could I keep being a father to a child who wasn't mine? Then, a week later, I got a message that changed everything. It was from an unknown number. "Meet me at Maple and 3rd, 7 p.m. I think you deserve the truth." I hesitated. Felt wrong, like walking into a trap. But my curiosity, my need to know, outweighed my caution. At 7 p.m., I stood on the corner under a flickering streetlight. Car pulled up. The window rolled down. It was Mark. Mark, the man Sarah had dated briefly before me. The man I always suspected she still had lingering feelings for, though she denied it. "James," he said quietly, "get in." I slid into the passenger seat, my pulse racing. "I heard about the DNA test," he said, gripping the steering wheel tightly. "I'm sorry you had to find out that way. But there's something you don't know." Clenched my jaw. "Just say it." He sighed. "Sarah, she told me Ethan was mine. From the very beginning." The air seemed to vanish from the car. "What?" "She said she wasn't sure when she got pregnant. But she came to me first. I told her I wanted to be in his life. But she said marrying you would give him a stable home. I chose you, James. Not because she loved you more, because you had the job, the house, the future she wanted." My hands curled into fists. "So what was I? Her safety net. She said she'd tell you one day. I guess she never did." I stared out the window, my reflection ghostly in the glass. All those years, I was the backup plan. That night, I didn't go back to the motel. I drove home. Not because I forgave her, but because I needed answers, and I wasn't going to get them hiding in some room with peeling wallpaper. Sarah was in the kitchen when I walked in. Her eyes widened. "James, why him?" I asked flatly. She froze. "What? Why Mark? Why me? Why any of this?" She sank into a chair, her hands trembling. "Because I was scared of ending up alone. Mark, he wasn't ready for a family. You were. And when I realized I was pregnant, I panicked. I didn't want to raise a child by myself. You were safe, kind, steady. So you married me out of fear," I said, my voice hollow. She looked up, tears streaking her cheeks. "At first. But I grew to love you, James. I swear I did. I still do." I shook my head slowly. "You don't get to redefine love after 5 years of lying." The next few weeks were a blur of lawyers, tense conversations, and sleepless nights. But here's the thing they don't tell you about betrayal. It's not loud. It's quiet. It creeps in like a draft under a locked door. Changes the way you look at everything, even yourself. One evening, I found myself sitting on the floor of Ethan's room while he slept. His little chest rising and falling. My heart ached. I wanted to hate him, but I couldn't. He had my laugh, even if he didn't have my blood. "Daddy," he mumbled, half awake. "Yeah, buddy. Are you mad at Mommy?" I swallowed hard. "A little. But I'm not mad at you. Never at you." He smiled faintly and drifted back to sleep. That's when I made my decision. Months have passed since that night. The divorce is almost final. Sarah still tries to talk to me to patch things up, but I don't have anything left to give her. Ethan stays with me 3 nights a week now. We build Lego castles. We go to the park. I teach him how to ride his bike. No, he's not my biological son. But love, I've learned, isn't always written in DNA. The truth was worse than I thought. Not because he wasn't mine, but because I was used. Trapped in a life built on someone else's fear. But I'm walking forward anyway. Not for Sarah. Not for revenge. For him. For me. Because sometimes, surviving the betrayal is the real victory. When people ask why I didn't cut them both out of my life completely, I tell them this. Betrayal breaks trust, but it doesn't erase history. I may not be the father by blood, but I am the man who showed up, who stayed, who chose love even when it hurt. And that's something no test result can take away.